So today I woke up and something really special came into my mail. A few days ago I was surprised with an email from Gamakay. They told me about their new Hall Effect keyboard lineup and they wanted me to give it a shot. The biggest selling point of this keyboard, besides being a magnetic keyboard and having a rapid trigger and all that, is the price. Sitting at only $85, it's clear that they had to cut corners somewhere. So here we're gonna find out how and if this keyboard is really worth for your money. This keyboard apparently can be connected wirelessly, so we're definitely gonna try that out. The box is pretty simple, and the first thing that we see is a manual and the keyboard. So let's take a look at the manual first. We should have some functions and the lighting setting until I realized that you can open it more. You have these key travels presets. I think that's really interesting. But let's be honest, who needs the manual anyways, right? So let's go directly into the keyboard. Alright, so here we have it. It looks pretty decent. It looks very good. I like the color arrangement of the keycaps. They also feel like they are PVT plastic, and the whole body is also plastic. For some reason I found the keys to be very loud. Here on the sides we can see once again the logo, and overall a great design. So on the back of the keyboard we can see the rubber feet with two adjustable levels, which I think is pretty cool. Apart from that, we seem to have a switch, which I guess is to turn the battery on and off, and the dongle. So I tried to get it out, but obviously I can't with my gloves, so I asked for help. It's a bit underwhelming, to be honest. It doesn't even have a name or anything. Like, I could potentially see myself randomly finding this USB dongle and not knowing what it is, which is a bit inconvenient, I guess. It's the first time I see a knob made of this material, and to be honest, I have done a very bad mistake, and I feel a little bit dumb. During the whole review, you will see how the knob looks like this, and that's just the protecting foam. This is how it actually looks, and it looks so much better. And I only realized this because Lifeline told me. He posted a picture about it and I was like, huh? So yeah, I feel pretty dumb for this, but let's continue. And one of the things I realized is that the printing, both the spacing and the thickness, is a bit inconsistent. As you can see, some of them are thicker than the other ones, some of them are more spaced. This is not a big deal or a deal breaker for me, and I forgot there was more stuff left in the box. So as we open it, we can see the braided cable, which seems to be a nice quality. I don't think this is gonna break anytime soon. And one of the things I really liked is that they included a switch / keycap puller. Personally, this is my favorite accessory to get off my keycaps or switches, so a big thumbs up to Gamakay for this. But before we connect the keyboard, I want to talk to you about the sponsor of this video, Keysfan. So don't lie to me, how many times have you seen this small pop-up here? Probably more than you would remember. And now tell me, how many times have you looked like this when you're trying to get rid of it? Exactly. That's why I want to tell you about the spring sale that Keysfan.com is hosting with some ridiculous deals. 50% off in any Windows copy and 62% off in any of the Office purchases. With my code SHIK50 you can access a Windows 10 professional key for $9 or a Windows 11 Pro for $15. Just to put this into perspective, this is the price in the Microsoft page. It's ridiculous. So is this legal? How does it work? Why is it so cheap? So basically these are OEM keys, which are completely legal, and they are sold as a batch to big companies that end up not needing them and then resell them. That's why key fans can get them for such a low price, and if you buy a key, you can use that key as many times as you want, as long as you're using it in the same PC. Then it will work forever. So remember, for Windows, 50% discount, and for Office, 62% discount. So if you want to buy it, just go into the store, add the one you like to the cart, go here and just add my code. You will instantly have a 50% off, or a 62% if you're buying Office. So thank you so much Keyfans for sponsoring this video, and let's continue. So as soon as we plug it in, we can see the LEDs, which I guess are kinda nice, but it also makes me feel a bit weird. It's because the letters in the keycaps are not transparent, so you cannot see the light through them, but it's fine. With the manual on hand, we can check some of the lighting effects. So yeah, one of the keys will control the effect itself, and then the backspace is just to change the color. We have more combinations, but to be honest, I will let you figure that out, because I'm not very much of an RGB guy. So yeah, these presets are cool and all, but I want to see what the software is capable of. So let's check it out. Alright, so downloading the software was pretty easy. Just go to the Gamakay website, go to download software, and then we download this one that says Windows software for all these keyboards. Our keyboard is included here, so we just download that. I just found it a little bit funny that it says window instead of Windows, but you know, it works. So this is pretty much what we get as soon as we open the software. The first thing I want to say though is that the font I just don't like it. I just think it's so easy to just change it to a good font. So I think they can work a little bit in polishing the software. So for stroke setting is what I'm really interested about. And here we can see the presets that we talked about earlier. And we can customize each individual key or also just all the keys. So yeah, we can press on all buttons and then change the actuation for all the keys. And as you can see here, every time we change something, it will show here on the simulation. So I think that's very, very cool. So let's set some settings. For example, let's go with 3.6 and with 1.0. And then let's do the simulation testing. So right now I'm pressing a random key in my keyboard and this animation pops up. So we can see exactly at what point it starts activating and at what point it starts deactivating. And that will make it so when you set up an actuation, it really is what you're looking for. But remember in the beginning we said that we have kind of like presets that we can use with the hotkeys. And it doesn't seem like you can customize those, but that's fine. Also, apparently there's a non-stop rapid trigger option, but I'm too dumb to figure out what this means. Oh, I guess this red text here explains it. And now let's go into light. So now this is where I really liked where this was going. Not only you can change around some things like the light mode or like the play mode and things like that. Or of course, for example, set up the lights individually here in the light edit. I was mainly curious about my work thing. So apparently what this is when you make a preset yourself, you can upload that in the network. So you will log in here with your email and password and you will be able to upload and download things from other users. Guys, remember this keyboard is $85 and it comes with all this. I think it's just insane. So as you can see here, share settings, people are sharing their settings, sharing the lights, sharing the macros. It's honestly pretty good. You can also, for example, like one of these if you like them, and then you go here to the section of my like, and then you have them there forever. I don't know. So yeah, this is the my account thing. Nothing much here. You can upload your current settings or download the cloud settings. So that's good if you're traveling to another PC or something. And in the about, there's also some stuff here. So the first thing that caught my eye here is the background. So what is this? You can actually change the background of the program. So let's give it a picture. So yeah, I chose another picture here and as you can see, it looks absolutely beautiful and you can also add some blur to it, which I think is absolutely amazing. Again, as I said, I just think this program needs a bit of polishing because if you choose a gray image, then you're not gonna be able to see the text, but it's fine. But speaking about switches, let's go back to the keyboard and take a keycap off to see what switches is inside this keyboard. Alright, so let's take one of the keycaps off to see what switches I use. And to my surprise, it wasn't a switch that I was common with. I never seen this switch. So let's turn the RGB off. And here we can see it has a very nice blue color. And the contrast I just think is amazing. I think they made their own housing as it says Gamakay there. And I'm really curious to know what the performance of these switches are. One thing I can quickly realize is that these switches don't have any stabilizers, which are these two little pins that you usually see in Hall effect switches, but these switches do not have it. Also, when I look at the socket of the keyboard, it also doesn't have room for the stabilizers. So I assume that the compatibility with other Hall effect switches is not great. So I personally tried the retrocompatibility between this keyboard and other switches, and yes, it does work, but the problem is that since it doesn't have room for the stabilizers, you will have to chop those off from your switches and then it will work. It's very inconvenient and I really don't understand why Gamakay went for this approach. Again, it's probably a way to cut corners and manufacture things in a cheaper way, but I don't know, I think it will be pretty cool if they allowed more compatibility. But hey, for $85, we can't complain much, right? Alright, so time to check the switch performance, and in this case I will use again the same SIO device I used in the last video, and we'll see how much raw data this switch has. So here, as you can see, it's about the same as the Gateron switches, the Lecker switches, which is a good thing. Those switches are very good. So these switches are definitely not lacking a powerful magnet, which is good if you want to go for a full-on keyboard like this one. This is the sound of the switches. But this is just numbers, right? Let's talk about how it performs in actual games. So I have been using these switches for a few days now, and to be honest, I don't really have that many negative things to say. In games like CSGO, League of Legends, Valorant, I have used these settings, which are not super low or sensitive, but still pretty good, and these are the lowest settings that I could use without being too prone to misclick, because sometimes my fingers just rest on the keys, and if the actuation is set to too low, I can press the key accidentally, and that's not good, right? But you also want performance, so I found that around this area it works very well. But yeah, during the gameplay that you're seeing right now in the background, I was really enjoying the keyboard. One of the key things that I feel when I play with this keyboard is that the key acts instantly. As soon as I press, it moves, and sometimes it feels like it's reading my mind, because it just actuates very fast, which is exactly what you want in a Hall effect keyboard. And the same I can say when I'm using it wirelessly. I just don't feel any delay. Surely there's some delay that is being added, but I don't know, I just don't feel it, so I don't know what to tell you. But for me, it's impossible to feel any latency whatsoever. But now my experience with Osu, it was also quite good. So as soon as I got into Osu, I started playing with these settings, which are very sensitive, and I just started playing some very fast maps. And to be honest, I was quite surprised. Without even warming up, I was already able to burst pretty fast. And my experience with this keyboard is exactly the same as I described in CS. Super fast, super precise, and no issues whatsoever. No misclicks, no anything. Another thing, the switches are super nice, and I'm very sad that they didn't send me the silent switches because I really wanted to try those, but maybe you can get them if you buy it, and you can tell me your experience in the comments, or in my personal Discord. So yeah, as a high-level Osu player, I have to say, these switches, speed, no problem. Finger control, no problem. I just feel like they are such an all-rounder switch that can do anything for me, and I'm very happy with them. You know, when it comes to playing in a really high level, I still prefer the Geon Raptors, but the fact that the $85 keyboard comes with these switches by default, and they are really nice switches, that just makes me very happy. I have no complaints with this keyboard whatsoever. When it comes to playing also wirelessly, again, I just don't feel any delay. This doesn't come as a surprise to me that much, because I have been using wireless mouse and headset for a few years now, and I know that the latency is basically non-existent. Yes, maybe it's like 5 milliseconds, but to me that's unnoticeable. And I want to say something, the experience of me connecting this keyboard wirelessly is just so perfect. It's very straightforward. Connect the dongle to your PC, flip the switch in the back of your keyboard, and that's it! It works! It's amazing. I have no words, to be honest. I thought it was gonna be a bit more troublesome, or I had to download this or download that, or I had to detect or something, or I don't know. But the fact that it works just like that is perfect. Again, I have had peripherals, equipment that is like so much more expensive, that has given me so many more problems than this keyboard has given me so far, which are none, basically. I haven't had any problems with this keyboard whatsoever. Alright, so now at this point you should know if with all these pros and cons this keyboard is for you, so in case you want to check it out, the link is in the description. Last but not least, we have the sound test.